No, 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 no. So here's my GISHKI list, and obviously this is a blind second deck, and blind seconding this event is actually a very popular strategy. People are either playing dedicated blind second decks like Lyrilisk or Yosenju, and just, you know, putting in tons of board breakers and just clearing your opponent's field, or in the Lyrilisk case, not even clearing your opponent's field, just, you know, just making a huge Assemble Nightingale and attacking directly a lot of times, likely for game. Or they're just playing normal decks, like Marincess, for example, but instead of just playing going first and running like the non-engine, which honestly a lot of the non-engine isn't that great this format, like Droll and Mourner, they're like inconsistent if that, and there's no other hand traps. So they're, instead of just playing their deck normally, they're just opting to play their deck with a bunch of board breakers going second. You know, like obviously we have evenly, but then they also add stuff like, you know, Lightning Storm, Regeki. I've seen people run Ultimate Slater as well as another out to Lancia and all that stuff. But I think out of all the blind second strategies, GISHKI feels like it's honestly the best one for like a few reasons that I'll get into. But obviously this deck is not budget, as you can see from here, and it's also a deck that I don't really expect anybody to own because of this card right here. GISHKI Zeogigas, very important. Not a single person should have any reason to actually own this UR, unless they're playing pure GISHKI, like I am. And I don't know, I don't think there's very many people on Master Duel interested in playing pure GISHKI. Hopefully I can change your mind in this video, but, you know, at least with Naramanus and with Focus Akamira, these are using GISHKI Sprite, which was a Sprite variant that saw some play and saw some hype, but Zeogigas was definitely not used in those decks. And as you can see, I only have one Focus Akamira as well, so, you know, I'm a fake GISHKI fan as well. But yeah, as you can see, this deck is all board breakers and with an emphasis on the stealing cards, stealing only, because this deck, stealing Lancia versus Ice Barrier is literally game. You take it, and then they suddenly, you know, they don't get any of their Ice Barrier summons. And also, when you take their Lancia, it's a water monster, so you can link that off into core on enemy and proceed to link off and proceed to pop up with your plays using your opponent's Lancia. And because, you know, you linked it off, they don't get to search summon any Trishula. At one point, the board breakers I was running Kaijus and Kaiju Slumbers, and I realized that Kaiju's actually wasn't the best versus Ice Bears, because if you Kaiju the Lancia, they get to summon a Trishula from their extra deck, and they still get to handle you for one after getting rid of the Lancia, which is not ideal. Now, there is one problem with this approach, is that it hard loses to this card, a Spellbreaker. If your opponent's playing a real Ice Bearer and not the Loner deck, then they can Cold Wave you from spells, and if you're not running Kaijus, then you have no out to this. So yeah, you know, this happened to me once, and I lost the game because of this. So, but you know, better have it. Majority of people are going to be on the Ice Barrier Loner, and the Ice Barrier Loner does not contain this card. So if you play against the Ice Barrier Loner with this deck, you will have like an 80-90% win rate, easy. And yeah, that's as far as board breaker cards, that's pretty much all you need. Like, just these, that's the way to deal with Lancia, and then you just have a backbone removal. Because this deck is very adept at breaking boards already, because of this card, GISHKI Necromirror. You can ritual summon using one of your opponent's monsters for the entire tribute summon. So this non-targeting removes any single monster on your opponent's field. Basically get rid of the biggest threat, and then you get to summon out one of your ritual monsters. out of that. All you take is 3k, or like if you summon Zeal Gigas, you take like 3.2k life points. But yeah, this already by itself, this something out of Neremana, which is itself another monster negate, basically breaks almost any board in the entire event format. It's also, as you will see in one of the replays, Necromirror completely shuts down. You don't even need to draw one of these steel cards. This is just nice to draw it to like hard draw, but Necromirror already destroys Ice Bearer. Because you Necromirror and you sack Lancia, then you summon Neremanas. Neremanas, when special summon, you get to revive a water monster. So Neremanas will be Chainlink 1, and then Lancia's effect to summon Trishula will be Chainlink 2. And what happens when Lancia's effect to summon a Trishula is Chainlink 2? The Trishula misses timing, so they don't get any disruption out of that. So Necromirror effectively shuts down the entire Ice Barrier strat. It also, you know, does other stuff. You know, against Magic Spectre, you can't target or destroy your cards, so like these cards are kind of dead. But you can still Necromirror, sack their stuff, and then get your plays going that way. And then, yeah, just do that. You probably have spell trap removal for their back row, so that's most likely fine. You just have to get rid of over a bunch of their undestructible, untargetable dudes, which is fine because Zeal Gigas removal effect. You pay 1k life points, you draw a card, and then if you reveal it, and if it was a GISHKI monster, you get to shuffle a card from the field to the deck, non-targeting. So this Zeal Gigas destroys basically most fields. You can easily trigger Zeal Gigas 3 times per turn because Zeal Gigas is not a hard once per turn. This is an old ass card, it's soft once per turn, and you can summon Zeal Gigas 3 separate times during your turn and just spin back up to 3 of your opponent's cards. You shouldn't have to spin that much back, but you have the option to. So yeah, to get on with like the deck and all, the quick explanation of what the cards do. Beautiful Princess basically summons out Grimness or Abyss. Abyss is yet another card without a hard once per turn. Not a once per turn at all, by the way. This is just literally there's no once per turn anywhere in this card. When this card is summoned, add a GISHKI monster with 1k or less defense from your deck to your hand. So literally this will add any monster, any GISHKI monster to your hand. It adds any of these directly, you know, Vision, Shadow, Grimness. Not that you would add Grimness, but it's an option, or Zeal Gigas directly. And if you want to add Neremanas, you just add Vision and discard it to add Neremanas. So yeah, this is also another card that you summon 3 to 4 times in your turn, and you get 4 searches off of this, which is why it's so easy to like kill and like do your entire combo with GISHKI, because what is a once per turn? And Vision and Shadow, these are just the respective tutors. Vision, which tutors as Ritual Monster. Shadow tutors a Ritual spell, so as Shadow can search Necromirror. And then after you use the Necromirror once, because it costs life points, you usually can't use Necromirror multiple times a game, especially if your opponent Mourners you. The problem with Mourner is like not that it negates an effect, the problem with Mourner is that it deals life points damage. And Necromirror and next Zeal Gigas cost life points, so Mourner can effectively stop your future effects, not just the current one, but you know, that usually it's fine. And yeah, Shadow and Vision can also be used for the entire tribute of a GISHKI Ritual monster, like Low, for example. Although, unlike with Low, you wouldn't want to do that. You ideally don't want to use these cards to fulfill the requirements for your Ritual Summon, because these are resources, where you would rather use another Ritual monster as the cost for your Ritual Summon. Speaking of Ritual monsters, yeah, we already went over Zeal Gigas. Not once per turn. You can draw up 3 cards per turn with its effect, because yeah, that's just how the deck works. It loops. And Neremana's monster negate, although most of the time you're just using it to, if this card is Ritual Summon, you can target one monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Once again, where is the once per turn on this? This is not a once per turn, so you can see how you can abuse GISHKI Abyss multiple times when you have Neremana's not once per turn summoning back a monster from grave every time it's Ritual Summon, which you need Ritual Summon a lot. And Grimness. Grimness, basically, you will use it to summon Abyss from deck. Now, if you do use Grimness, you are locked from attacking with anything but Ritual monsters, but all you gotta do is Ritual Summon 3 times, then you will have Neremanas, Zeal Gigas on the field. That's over 9k damage. That's already the game anyway, so you don't even... Really, the attack restriction doesn't hinder your ability to kill your opponent that often, and what's great about Grimness is that not only does it get Abyss, it gets you a 1-card core enemy. And if you make core enemy brings back Abyss, and then that gets you another search. So literally you get 2 searches off of 1 Grimness. Which, I mean, yeah, man, just if you don't get drolled, you're gonna literally add your whole deck to your hand. And we covered the board breakers I used. Salvage, basically, anytime you have salvage, this card basically reads, get 1 additional ritual summon. Because you get to add 2 water monsters from your grave to your hands. You usually add any combination of shadow or vision, whichever you need, so you can add back a ritual spell plus essentially another ritual monster, or 2 ritual monsters, or 2 ritual spells with salvage. And yeah, if you also searchable by thrust, by the way, so just one of your better engine pieces to add off of thrust. 1 for 1 gets a princess, 1 Aqua Mirror. You should run 3 of this, so I don't have 3, so that I'm only running 1, but if you have 3 of this, that's even better. And yeah, this just basically adds any GISHKI monster from deck to your hand. If you don't have Grimness, you add Grimness, but if you do have Grimness, then this can be any other GISHKI monster in your deck. And tactics, so because I'm running the stealing cards already, I don't often use tactics to steal my opponent's monster. What I do is I use tactics to look at the hand. Why? Because of Mourner. Aforementioned, if they Mourner my ritual monster, I'm losing 3k life points, and then I lose like 2 to 3 activations on my Zero Gigas, which is really annoying. So oftentimes I will triple tap this talent to try and snipe out the Mourner. Have never successfully done that yet, so maybe that's not even correct to do. But yeah, this is just a search off thrust. I don't really need this. This is hard to, because you need, in order to make this live, you have to trigger your opponents and bait your opponent's monsters first. So if you just draw tactics and nothing, then no other board breakers, that's not actually doing anything for you. You have to draw one of these first to bait out your opponent's interactions and your opponent's monster effects. Then this becomes live. And yeah, 2 Aqua Mirror and 1 Necro Mirror. You only need 1 Necro Mirror because you literally only can resolve 1 per turn per game because of the life points cost. Also, Engrave effect, very important. It puts a GISHKI monster on top of your deck. That means you can guarantee a Zero Gigas spin. So idea being that you put like your shadow or your vision back to the top of your deck, whichever one you need, based on your hand, and then Zero Gigas will guarantee add that to your hand off the draw, and then spin a card. And Aqua Mirror, this is if you're gonna do every other ritual summon, you tribute monsters whose total level is equal exactly to the level of the ritual monster. What you want to do with this is you want to sack a ritual for another ritual. That way, when you summon it, GISHKI Aqua Mirror has a great effect where you can shuffle this card into the deck and add a ritual monster from your graveyard to your hand. So essentially, if you use, for example, Aqua Mirror, summoning a Zero Gigas, tributing a Neramanus, then you can GISHKI Mirror, put it back to the deck, and add Neramanus back to your hand. You essentially just ritual summon your Zero Gigas for free. And all you would have to do this special to make another ritual summon is to get access to another Aqua Mirror, which you can easily do by just getting another shadow. So yeah, you'll see how the loop goes and how deep it goes in the replays. Now, obviously, if you don't have the mind control cards, or for some reason you do have Zero Gigas, you don't actually need to play these steel cards. You could literally just run more Aqua Mirrors if you have them, and run triple tactics talents, and then run Book of Eclipse instead. Book of Eclipse is not as good because you don't get a body, but it also reliably outs into every single board in the entire format, so it's honestly fine. You'd probably be fine playing, especially if you play like non-Ice Bear matchups, like if you're playing Magic Spectre or random stuff, then Book of Eclipse might even do you better than these mind control cards. But yeah, the extra deck, I never went to a single Xyz. Okay, these don't matter. These links, actually, most of them don't matter. So, core enemy, you know what this does? You gotta play 2 of this in case they Mourner the first one. You can still make a second one, and then you can still use this effect. So, there's that area. As this is water deck. Abyss Keeper. So, this does come up. If you have extra copies of Abyss in hand, you can make this and then special summon Abyss from hand. And then obviously, because Abyss was summoned, then you get another search, cool. And then it's also active removal as well. I've never needed to do that because this deck is just has it's literally infinite resources already. But like if you get disrupted to Oblivion or hand trapped to Oblivion, like your opponent literally has 3 infirms. This is still a way to like play through that if you just have more fish copies of fish in hand, like these. And then Marble Rock. This is just a link 3 to go into, so that way when after you bring back the Abyss, you can link off the Abyss to the grave again into a Marble Rock, and then you can Neramanus revive back the Abyss again, and then you get another search, and then these go into a link 4, most likely is the Atlantis. The Atlantis is cool because once again, soft once per turn, so you can Zealantis, re-summon back the Zeal Gigas, use Zeal Gigas effect again. This is how you use Zeal Gigas effect like 3 times to draw 3 cards during your turn. Also triggers another GISHKI Abyss Search. So like imagine you make a Zealantis with your opponent's stolen monster, then you summon back Abyss and Zeal Gigas, then you essentially get another 2 free cards. Like, yeah, this deck just goes crazy. It's just under the radar because again, nobody really owns these cards anymore, nor should they. But you know, if you do, Zeal Gigas goes hard. So this was a game where I still had kaijus in my deck, but for all intents and purposes, just pretend that these kaijus, these Gamma Seals, are just mind control and change of heart, because those cards would have been much better in this situation than the Gamma Seals, as you'll see in a bit. But yeah, this is Ice Bears. Opponent's doing a little bit of a wonky combo, so you're going to do all this stuff and make a Gunir, tribute for a mirror, and then hard make Lancia, and essentially end on Lancia pass. Well, sure, dude, sure, whatever. Anyways, I Gamma Seal the Lancia, which is the only threat on board. Again, if that was a mind control, this would have been way better, because then they wouldn't get this Trishula, and then they wouldn't hand loop me for 1. But this hand's cracked enough to where the hand loop really does not matter. So I have Duster taking out the Freezing Chains, even though it doesn't really do anything. But yeah, I'm going to GISHKI Grimness now for Abyss, and here's where you see that the deck loops the resources infinite. Okay, this hand right now does literally lets me do almost anything I want. So Grimness summons Abyss. Abyss searches a Vision, get Neramanus, link these 2 off into Core Enemy, and opponent mourners this, and this is why Mourner. So sometimes it's not what you want because they have to Mourner the Core Enemy on the summon. So honestly, this is not a good target for Mourner, since I will simply Necromirror, sack the Trishula, summon the Neramanus, revive the Abyss. Then Abyss searches Zeal Gigas directly, link off Abyss and Core Enemy to a second Core Enemy. Now Core Enemy will bring back the Abyss again. This is my 3rd search of Abyss on this turn, by the way. Get a Shadow, and then use Shadow, will get a Aqua Mirror, and I use Aqua Mirror to sack the other Shadow in hand to summon the Zeal Gigas. And now, with Necromirror in grave, I use Necromirror's effect to shuffle back GISHKI Shadows, or not shuffle back, place GISHKI Shadow on top of the deck. Therefore, I'm guaranteed to hit off the Zeal Gigas. So the Zeal Gigas now will reveal the Shadow that I just put on top to draw it, and spin a card, fling these 2 off into Marble Rock, and I will Marble Rock back 1 of the Coron enemies, because I guess why not, right? And then use Shadow and get Aqua Mirror, and I kind of run out of resources here a little bit because I messed up the cycling. At the same time, I mean, what's my opponent gonna do? I cleared their board. They're on 0 cards, and I have the monster negate up. So it's the game's effectively over anyways. But yeah, they're going to add back Georgius, and then top deck into Revealer, which is a good top deck, except it's not enough to beat Neramanus. So yeah, I got nothing, and we're gonna attack for. First of all, put back the other Coron enemy, then use Zeal Gigas, draw a Beatuneful Princess, normal summon the Beatuneful Princess, get a Abyss, sack the Zeal Gigas for Neramanus, and the Neramanus will bring back the Zeal Gigas, and then I'll use Shadow, add a Necromirror, because that's the only one left in my deck. But yeah, this is already game, because now I'm no longer Grimness locked, so I can attack with non-rituals, and anytime you can do that, you basically have an easy game, so yeah. And I was still rusty. I didn't even cycle my resources properly, but you can see that the more you can do a lot. You can do a lot with this deck. If you play properly, you should be able to kill at least like 60-70% of the time through any amount of boards your opponent has. And obviously, even if you don't kill, you're breaking their board every single time. And in this kind of format, the follow-up is not as strong as it is in normal format, so it's often enough. You don't even need to kill them a lot of time to win the game. So here's another game with a pretty decent hand, and my opponent bricks. Very nice. So my turn, I normal summon Grimness, and this is a misplay. So this is actually a misplay because this doesn't play as well into an imperm. The ideal play is you should normal summon GISHKI Abyss with this hand. You get impermed, it's fine because you can GISHKI Shadow dump for a mirror anyways, and then summon out the Neremanas with the Grimness in hand still, and then Grimness, and then you can revive the Grimness with Neremanas. Grimness effect triggers, and then you can go to town from there through an imperm, by the way. But if you normal summon Grimness, this happens. Okay, you get impermed, and now I'm screwed because I can't ritual summon now because Grimness is negated, and I can't use Grimness as a full tribute when it's negated. So I have to GISHKI Shadow, search for an Alchemir, and just pass. So yeah, whoops. Yeah, this deck is actually a bit difficult to play to like order the sequencing correctly. So opponent now, they do have a play. They draw into Ran each turn, although that's probably their only play. So they're gonna, make a Lancia and pass. And you make Lancia pass against this deck, you lose. Here's what happens. Okay, nice hard draw the Necromir. I would have searched the Necromir anyways, but yeah, Necromir sack the Lancia, and here's what happens. Chainlink 1 Neremanas summons back the Grimness. Chainlink 2 Lancia. What happens when Lancia is Chainlink 2? The Trishul that you summon from the extra deck misses timing. Very nice. So, literally, a Necromir with a Neremanas makes Lancia miss timing. It's so stupid that like this deck has like such an easy way to out this fucking dumbass card. So, yeah, now I can literally do whatever I want. I accidentally summoned GISHKI Vision because I'm not gonna lie. All these GISHKI monsters look the same, and they're all level 2s besides the Shadow, which I wouldn't summon. So I mistake this for Abyss. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. I have so much gas anyways. I use Tactics to search Talents, and I use Talents to Hand Rip just to play around Mortar because I don't need any more gas. And now on normal summon Abyss, we add another Vision, and these two will go into Core Enemy. Core Enemy bring back the Abyss. Search again, a second Abyss search. Use GISHKI Vision to add Zealgigas, and then salvage back a Vision plus Shadow. And I will use Vision to add another copy of Neremanas. Use Alchemir, sack the Neremanas for Zealgigas, and then use Alchemir to add back the Neremanas, and then use Necromir's engraved. Use Shadow to add the Alchemir back to hand. Then I'll use Necromir to stack the Shadow, stack the Vision on top. Use Zealgigas to get a guaranteed hit. Get Forbidden Droplets. Does not matter. You should have used the Forbidden Droplets way earlier, bro. This is literally you're just minusing 2 yourself. You're just losing 2 cards for no reason. Like my Zealgigas would have gotten rid of 1 card, but you got rid of 2 cards for me. So thank you very much. Anyway, this Alchemir I added back to hand. I can just sack the Zealgigas, summon Neremanas, and look at this play that I'm allowed to do. I'm allowed to Neremanas revive the Zealgigas because it was special summoned properly. And I get to use Zealgigas again because Zealgigas is a soft one's return. Add the Vision to hand anyways that I stacked on top, and now you attack directly with all 3 fusions for over 9,000 damage. So we win the coin flip this game, and my opponent knows that I'm blinding second. So they're going first, and they're Lantern Sharking out the Leaf Fish to dump the Xyz Remora, going to Bahamut Shark into Torpedo into Armor Fortress, and to add the 2 Armor Xyz Spell Trap. And then, Crystal Zero Lancer into the Full Armor Dark Knight that package. Add the Xyz Remora back to hand with Full Armor Dark Knight, detach 2, Xyz Remora, bring back 2, and go into full armor Utopic Ray Lancer, discarding the trap, and then using making Dweller, and so now we're under Dweller. So Dweller, you might be thinking, what does Dweller do against this deck? There's exactly one thing Dweller stops versus this deck, and that is the graveyard effect of Aquamirror, which is kind of annoying because that's how I get Aquamirror is literally how I get like 2 to 3 free cards back to my hand. So it does affect me a little bit, but you can see I can still do a lot of my plays. So first of all, that back row is getting Duster out of this world nice evenly, and then focus Aquamirror into Grimness, normal summon Grimness, get Abyss, and they just have a singular suck on their field, so I don't really care about this. I'm gonna Abyss, add Necromirror, and Vision, add Naramanus. Gonna Mind Control, target their Ray Lancer. That's gonna just prompt them to use their evenly matched right away. Or they're not evenly matched, they're armored exceeds in the right away, just equip it to the full armor Ray Lancer, and now I get to do unhindered almost. So core enemy, bring back Abyss, get the second Abyss search for turn, get Zeal Gigas, link these two off into Marble Rock so that Abyss goes back into the grave, and then we use Necromirror, sack the Ray Lancer, summon out Naramanus, and then Naramanus will summon out the Abyss once again. So now we get our third search off Abyss this turn, get another Shadow, and then I have Salvage too, so I literally have everything. Add back a Shadow, add back a Vision, and then Vision will get another copy of Naramanus, and then use Aquamirror. I will sack a Shadow for the Zeal Gigas, so it's a bit awkward because I can't really sack Naramanus for Aquamirror, because if I do, I can't get it back because I can't use Aquamirror to add the card Ritual Engraved to my hand, so I don't have them under Dwellers. So I'm gonna make Zeal Gigas right now, call, draw a card, miss, but I hit a Thrust. Now I shouldn't have added Salvage because I only play 2 Aquamirror, so even though I added back Salvage, I can't add another Aquamirror because I already have the Shadow in hand. It doesn't help me Ritual Summon anymore. I should have added something else, like maybe a Tactics Talent to like take one of their monsters, and then that might have pushed the game later. But yeah, we'll I'm still shadowing for the last Aquamirror in hand, and then Aquamirror will sack off the Zeal Gigas into Naramanus, and now Naramanus can revive the Zeal Gigas, and I get to use the effect again. Also note, it also turns off the Necromirror Engraved effect, so I can't stack GISHKI monster to the top of my deck and guarantee I hit off Zeal Gigas, so I'm just blind Zeal Gigasing. So here's the second Zeal Gigas activation. Draw another Thrust, unfortunate there. So I'm gonna salvage, add these 2 back for follow-up, I guess, since I can't make use of them really this turn anymore. I'm gonna go into Zealantis though, and Zealantis is gonna reset the whole board. Get back Naramanus, Zeal Gigas, and then they get their Leafish face down, and then the Dweller, and then this lets me trigger Zeal Gigas again. And finally, after the third time, after drawing 3 cards off Zeal Gigas, we finally hit. So now I can mount the Leafish back, and this is not enough for game because I am Grimness locked, so I can't attack with Zealantis. Now, the tactics, if I just added a Change of Heart or I added a Triple Tactics Talent, I would have won the game, because then I could just steal their one remaining monster and attack for directly. So this should have been game. Just I added the wrong thing on Thrust. But yeah, you played this properly. That was an OTK through Dweller. Yeah, I want to realize that. And they're gonna call by the grave the Marble Rock because to be petty, I did activate a card to get the Aquamirror back to my field, but yeah, this is a vision for game. So here's another game, and surprise, surprise, it's the Ice Burial Loner, and our opponent opens Revealer, so that's the 1-card combo into Mirror, into Coral Dragon. They're gonna go Coral Dragon, add Winds over the Ice Barrier, tribute the 2 tokens, get the Secret Guards out. That's an interesting move. So they're gonna draw 1 and land here and set 1. And Secret Guards Your opponent cannot target Ice Barrier monster you control with monster effect. So two things about this, okay? Number one, this ain't no monster effect, so lol, that plan that did not work out for you. Secondly, I'm not even sure Lancia is an Ice Barrier monster, because the card's name is Lancia Ancestral Mountain, Ancestral Dragon of the Ice Mountain. Nowhere in that name has Ice Barrier in it, nor does it have an effect that says treat this card is always treated as an Ice Barrier monster. So I don't even know if that would have worked anyways, but regardless, yeah, this hand is absolutely insane. First of all, we're gonna mind control the Lancia with there's that threat gone, and then I'll focus Oxmere, add Abyss. I add Abyss because I'm trying to kill them this turn, or I don't even need Grimness. My hand is cracked. Salvage, a GISHKI Abyss, Thrust, like, come on now. Add Shadow, then a Shadow, add Necromirror, link these two off into Core Anemone. You've seen this before, Core Anemone is so insane for this deck. Add Summon back Abyss, and really, you should have not let me summon back the Abyss. It's kind of the same thing, but GISHKI Abyss has less attack, so I lose less life points. If you just Mourner the Core Anemone, at least I suppose they were afraid that I could summon the second Core Anemone, I guess, so that's fair. But now I'm gonna Thrust for Duster, because again, I don't need more engine. My hand's already cracked. I'm gonna Duster the back row. So you see what it is. It's not reading Terror of Trishula. Don't know what that card does. But yeah, we go into Marble Rock, and now I'm gonna Necromirror, sack their Secret Guards, summon Naramonis. Naramonis is gonna revive Abyss again, so I get another Abyss search, and I only lost 800 life points from that Mourner, so that was nice. I get more Steel Gears activations that way, and you know, add Vision, add another Naramonis, salvage back the Shadow and the Vision. Salvage is cracked. It's an auto win basically if you draw that card, and then Shadow will add an Alchemir, then I use Alchemir to summon Zealgigas by sacking the Naramonis, and then I just enter battle phase. I don't need to do any more. If I was Grimness locked, I would have to go into Song and Dance, get another ritual out, which I could have, but I'm not Grimness locked, so I can attack with this Marble Rock, so that's actually just straight up game. You know, their field didn't need to be clear. I didn't need to even Zealgigas their field. I kind of yoinked their field with my spells already. So yeah, if you still own Zealgigas for some reason, you know, time to brush the dust off this card and bring this deck for this event, because as you saw, this deck goes very hard. Or you could play one of these other decks I've made videos on for this event as well. And let me know if you want to see even more Water and Wind Festival decks, because I still have cards that I want to play that I haven't gotten to use a chance to yet, because apparently I'm just the Water Duelist and I own infinite water decks, so you know, I gotta make use of them somehow. If not ranked, then I'm definitely getting my money's worth with them here.